salient points. And once we did our research as to why these mistakes are happening, it seemed that these could all be grouped into three specific tiers, right? So it's engagement, knowledge, and attitude. And let's unpack that in each little tier. So if we speak of engagement, we look at the way in which we currently train our employees, right? So I don't know how you guys are managing this today, but you've either got something inside from one of the partners globally. We send these PowerPoint presentations. We send our users on workshops. Or there's the occasional email on how to protect our information. But I'm sure we can all agree that doing it this way is not engaging. Our users look at the information, they either ignore or delete it out of their mailboxes, or if there is some form of compliance tick box that guys need to check for the learning management system under our CIOs, that's what they're looking for. It's like setting up an iPhone today. We skip, and then we simply agree without reading any of the clauses that we do tie ourselves into. So that speaks to how we engage at the moment with existing training and learning parts. We then go into knowledge. Now, knowledge is not speaking to your users' understanding or even knowing how the architecture of your business works. What's the exact spec of that Dell server sitting underground and that sort of knowledge. What we're talking about is the knowledge of the transfer of knowledge per se to all my users. So if you ask any company, and I mean we've been to a number of enterprise clients over the last couple of weeks where a 5,000 user business has the departments that look after security, ranging from 100 to 150 people. So a very small percent of our users are actually responsible for the overall security posture of our business. Now, what we're talking to here is that if that responsibility fell on 50 or 60% of our business, how would that change our risk register, and how could we address the riskiest areas of our business, knowing that we have a large-scale effort behind being security aware. And then the last point speaks to attitude or sentiment. So it's not the fact that we just generally have a bad attitude. What we're speaking of here is that it's particularly traditional to blame everything on IT. If something breaks, IT's got to fix it. If I'm hacked and my network goes down, IT should have protected me better. So again, tying into that area of knowledge as well as sentiment, we're trying to address these areas of risk with multiple facets of our business rather than just the traditional areas of our business, including IT, security, and governance. So how does Ataata do this? So we feel that sending short, punchy, yet impactful viral style videos to your users is most certainly what gets them engaged. These videos are all less than 3 minutes long and teach a specific topic to that user. And we do so on a consistent basis. So we do that monthly if you choose. You guys run the cadence. It could be weekly, monthly, biannually. It's completely in your control. But that entire experience for the end user doesn't take longer than 6 minutes. All right. So that 6 minutes is where we need to focus our attention and the attention of your user. Because let's be honest, if it's longer than that, guys might fall off and not really grasp the full concept of that specific module. The second and most powerful point of the platform is the amount of analytics we give you and how much reporting we do behind the scenes. Every single touch point is noted and reported upon in the platform and ties into this model of risk scoring. Now, risk scoring, while some of you may not appreciate what that goes down to, Ataata is the only platform globally that provides a risk score to BUs, customers, as well as the overall organizational health. And what that's looking to do is looking to give the administrators the power to pinpoint where to target more identified learning for risky areas in your business. Is it that sales team in the UK? Is it my marketing team in Australia? Is it the South Africans down there in terms of their sales teams? Where is that area and where do I need to focus my resources? So that risk score is actually run by our founder, Mike Madden, and he at the moment runs the faculty at MIT for advanced risk modeling and analytics at the moment. Lastly, I find the listen point quite important to my story. Being a cloud platform, if you think of the biggest cloud platforms globally today, we've got Oracle, we've got AWS, we've got tons of others. They always have these feedback buttons, and it's quite difficult to find something as a business where you would like some additional enhancement. So you try and click on the feedback button, and unfortunately, that goes to a no reply mailbox and almost always never gets action. with Ataata, I cannot explain to you how much we give in terms of that feedback button. We go through every single feedback we get, we collate what's the similar, and we distill what isn't, and we start looking at how we can prioritize these enhancements for our customers. If it makes sense, we can prioritize it fast enough where within a week that will be added to our platform. So we remain very agile, yet very dug in terms of what we want to provide to our customers. To give you guys some context, the South African guys on the call, Mimecast has been transacting for about 14 years in the South African region. We've got about 1.1 million users on our platform. Ataata has been transacting for 6 months, and we've got 950,000 users on the platform. So it gives you an idea of just how much scale this product has, and how proud we are to align this with Mimecast's vision for 2025. Overall, what we're trying to do for our customers is try and give them more predictive analytics. As the guys will agree on the phone call, we know that the way in which the world is changing is that everything's going to be driven on data-driven decision making. I won't make a decision unless I can see the trend, unless I can believe that pattern. And Ataata is looking to do just that for you, provide you with those insights, give you that data, and make sure that you are making the most insightful decisions you can for your business. Lastly, before we go into the user and the administrative experience, I thought it'd be nice to share you some proof points on the platform. So the first point speaks to how much more knowledgeable Ataata trained users are than non-Ataata trained users. So our users are 115% more accurate in answering the questions on topical security questions than guys who are not on the Ataata platform. And how we can determine that is we sent out a survey with tens of thousands of data subjects globally, okay? We asked them 2 questions. The first question was which industry do they reside in, and the second question was to answer just a question that we ask after one of our modules play. And we find that the global average for answering our questions sits at 39%. And if you guys are thinking about how difficult our questions are, they most certainly aren't easy. And we found that 115% was the point at which our users who were trained on our platform were answering the questions more. So it's a definite point of return that the concept is being brought across in our learning, and it most certainly is being engaged upon by our end users. The second and third point speak to the positivity as well as the way in which people are changing after they've indulged in our platform. So we do these attitudinal surveys, which I'll highlight to you in the user experience. And we do these on the first time the user logs into the platform, as well as every 6 months on cadence from there. And within the first 6 months, we find that users are 80% more positive when doing their surveys than the first time when they're logged in. To give you a beautiful story that we just were with a customer before this. We had a customer who rolled out a series of videos over a 3-day period, so Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And this morning he received a number of emails requesting for today's video, and he didn't have one set for today. So people are looking forward to the video content. They really like the style at which the learning is engaging them, and they're most certainly looking forward to having a bit of a chuckle in the process. So guys, that concludes kind of, I will say, story 1 of my presentation. I don't know if there's any questions at this stage. I mean, that's just literally the context setting. I'll give it a 2 or 3 second break, and then we'll just duck into the user experience if I don't hear anything back from you. But feel free to also enter it into the chat window. Alternatively, ask if necessary. Okay, it appears I'm doing a good job thus far. All right, so guys, just to kind of give you some flavor on what this looks like. So this is the user experience, okay? So you guys will have a multitude of ways in which to roll this out to your end users, whether it be through AD, whether it be through single sign-on via your LMS services that's existing, or even just a notification that gets sent out to your users in email. Now, as I stated earlier, the first time they log onto the platform, they'll be presented with an attitudinal survey. And you'll see the questions that are depicted at the bottom here are quite non-emotive. So I understand how security threats can impact my company. So they have the choice of these combinations at the bottom here. But the lady who builds our psychological evaluation onto the platform has made combinations. So the way in which they answer the 5 questions out of the 5 possible options all gets tracked into a gigantic data pool. and our data scientists analyze and provide us with a fundamental risk score or positive or sentiment base on that user. All right? So we can then determine how our users stack up against the global average of users today. We then move into the emotive side of the questioning, so how it impacts my family. And upon interviewing a couple of the users, we try to find out what their immediate thoughts were once we mentioned the words security threats and family in the same sentence. And being human beings, we naturally overthink things, and things were like, well, what if I lose my job because my company gets breached, I can't afford to live, and I can't feed my kids? And guys completely overthought what we were trying to get to, but that's a good thing, because it shows where their psychological evaluations lie between the company as well as their family, which is what we're trying to disseminate, which is what we're trying to uncover, and which is what we're trying to change. So these users go forward and answer these questions as they see necessary, and these are all being continually tracked and monitored. And once they continue and complete that initial survey, that's the last time they do it for the next 6 months. Whether they get 1,000 videos or whether they get 2 videos of the next 6 months, it's completely irrelevant. That is the last time they will see that for the next 6 months. Once that's complete, they then get to watch the video. Now, the video you'll see over here are speaking to 2 very specific characters. We've got Human Error, who's the guy in the gown with scruffy hair and kind of gives everyone the wrong information about how to progress and do anything naturally. And then we've got Sound Judgment, who is the prim and proper young lady who's trying to protect everyone from bad decision-making processes. So these 2 are the devil in the shoulder on your shoulders, obviously, and they kind of try and run you through different ways in which to attack each of these scenarios. So I'm going to play the video. Guys, there will be a bit of a lag, so please bear with me. It's just the Zoom conferencing bridge doesn't really do well with playing a high-quality video. And then once it's done, we'll jump into the question and answer section, and I'll show you guys how that looks as well. So here we go.
Plans for the weekend.
Are you floating that out for anyone in particular, or are we opening things up for group discussion?
Sorry, subject line of an email that just came in. I tend to read out loud.
And that's never distracting.
Hey, Doug.
Hey, Jada.
Can you show me the order history for the handle account?
Yeah, I'm pulling up the profile now. I'll email it to you.
CC Todd while you're at it, see if he does that thing where he reads the subject line out loud.
Whoa, no, absolutely not.
Think about what you're emailing. That company profile has sensitive information.
It's a manufacturing company. They're not sensitive. They're tough people.
Banking information, credit cards on file, personal cell phone numbers. Jada asked you for the order history. Show her that, but don't send the whole enchilada.
Speaking of enchiladas, Doug, we should get enchiladas for lunch.
Remove any stain in seconds.
Seriously, can you not read in your head?
Watch what you're doing, Doug. Let's pump the brakes.
No brakes, floor it. Let me hear that whoosh, Doug.
Handle company profile.
Wait, what? I sent that to Jada. How did you get it?
I got it too.
Didn't want any of it, got all of it.
Uh-oh. Pretty big oopsie daisy.
Doug, why did you just send everyone the handle profile?
Todd distracted me with his reading out loud. How did this happen?
Autofill, maybe. It usually makes things easier, Doug.
This is not one of those times, Tara.
Doug, relax. We'll just delete it.
This didn't just go to the department. Went to the entire company. 12 offices. Thousands of people, Doug.
Well, undo it. Rewind. Abort.
Incoming, Doug. Run.
Doug, mind keeping me company?
We're coming up on lunchtime. Do you want us to bring you back something?
Just a box. For my stuff. And then maybe an enchilada.
All right. So once that's completed, the user then has to answer the question on the specific topic of learning. So what I really like about the platform and enjoy about the platform is how it manages to take the concept out of that video and ask the user the question without referencing the video. So what you'll see here from the options is that it's not immediately obvious. All right. So the user actually has to think about that answer a little bit and really think and take his time as to answering that question. So the user selects their given option, and then again, we continue that theme of humor throughout the experience, right? So there's a little bit of a gif on a funny dance, or if they get it wrong, we do share that with them either by rolling the eyes or a face palm, etc. So the reason we do this at this stage is to obviously, again, maintain that level of humor, but also you are able to customize these GIFs and include people from your organization within the messaging here. We find that a lot of customers do that actually because what it's doing is making that entire experience more personalized, and users look forward to seeing people within the organization doing part of the dance, right? I'll allude to another piece of information in a little bit on the users, on the admin experience side, but there's something very cool you can do after this takes place. Once they've finished that, what we do then is a couple of things. So we start gamifying the results for that specific end user. And the reason we do that is for two reasons. Number one, introduce healthy competition. People are far more engaged when they realize they could beat someone else. And number two, to give them the idea that the information is being tracked somewhere, right? People are also far more engaging if they realize people are taking a look at this data and taking a look at this information. We also then break down the right answer. Now, why we do that is because a lot of the times in our questioning, it's not the perfect answer. You have a set of circumstances from which to choose. And if you choose and if you look at those specific options, they're not immediately obvious. So with this one, in case, the yes, B was the best option, but it most certainly isn't the right way to track it. And that's why we make sure that the user understands that in terms of its circumstances. They then earn a badge, which accrues on the top of their unique session on top. And once they're done, they return to their library, which is going to give them all the videos they have that they have not yet watched, so that the administrator's assigned. And it's going to show them all the videos they have watched, which they can then rewatch if necessary, and they can then close the session from there. So guys, that end-to-end is the entire user experience. It's quick, it's short, it's punchy, it's impactful, and hopefully it brings across an herb learning to your end users. So again, I'll leave it blank for a couple of seconds, but I'm going to head on to the administrator experience in just a little bit if I don't hear any questions on that experience. Cool. All right, so just to finish off with now, this is obviously where the administrators on the call and the guys who will run the program will get the most value out of it. So what I wanted to show you guys is what you can look forward to within the administration console. So as you guys will see, for the guys who are on Mimecast, it's a lot cleaner than the Mimecast administration console. There's a lot of stuff that's kind of cleaner here on this platform. And as you log in, we want to try and give you the most immediate information we can. So what you'll see as you log in is the performance statistics. So these are the modules that have been sent out to all our users, as well as their correct response ratios. Depending on how you want to run your organization's learning pattern, we would need to discuss what your acceptable equilibrium is between the two versus your correct responses and your module completion. So there's no perfect answer to that. Yes, we'd obviously like it to be 100%, but the world's not perfect, and the more users you get, the more change control you'll need to introduce, and obviously this will get tougher to obviously mask. So we'll discuss, and we can obviously consult and give you some base guidelines on how to address that. Going into the modules, you can look at each individual module's breakdown as to what their individual performance statistics were. So Drop It Like It's Hot talks about people using company information and plugging it into their Dropbox folders or Box folders or any kind of cloud folder that's off the company network. So we'll see the performance statistics based on that specific question, on that specific module. Down at the bottom here, what you'll be able to see is, again, the gamified results across the user base. And in the middle here, what really shows out and stands out to me is essentially the ability to compare yourselves for that specific question to your industry. So if there's anyone on the call that's in the education industry, the actual data points for this specific question, when asked to the education industry, they answered this question at about 25% accuracy. So 25% of the people got the question right, where your organization as an Ataata user might be on 75 to 80%. So a really nice point showing again that the users are engaging with the content and are grasping the concept of what that module is bringing across. Now, as I stated earlier, after that GIF comes up, there was something cool that you can do, and this is it. So the experience goes where you watch the video, you answer the question, you see the results and how you stack up against your peers. You then watch, you just imagine watching one of your MDs or a business unit head doing one of those funky dances and really personalizing that experience. Right after that, you have the ability to upload a custom piece of content. Now, I've seen this in real world. It looks unbelievable. So what administrators are doing is they're bringing up a very brief document with your specific company's policy on that subject. So if it's data shredding, if it's the way in which we need to keep our desks free of sensitive information, there'll be 2 or 3 very key points, very brief to understand, and then you'll have the ability to ask a question on your specific policy. Now, at that stage, you've more than likely got that user's undivided attention. He's far more likely to give you a 2 or 3 minute read over that policy, and possibly even then start applying it in real world situations. So we believe that ability to bring your personal policy to that user is most certainly a powerful one. By the end of November, we should have the ability to upload a 25 to 30 second MP4, and that's really going to be like an interview style of one of those business unit heads, etc., who's going to talk to that specific policy. And again, you'll be able to include a custom question after that as well. So that speaks to the modules and the overall view of the platform. Down here is your attitude tracker. So those 5 attitudinal questions get looked at here. This is a dynamic sliding scale, which is going to scale all the way and all the time, depending on how many people have taken that attitudinal survey. So at the moment, you'll see the organization has a positive view on security awareness, and that's basically highlighting the fact that the users are almost certainly feeling that they've changed for the better in terms of their security awareness kind of standpoint. The performance tab, I'm not going to go through this at much detail. It's basically a watch list and an achievement list. It's the guys who are watching versus the guys who aren't watching the documentation and the modules. You can go into the detail and export these. Guys, if you are using any kind of BI tools like a Tableau or a Power BI, you can directly utilize our APIs to create these own custom reports. However, you can just export the information into your XLS and do your own reporting based on that. So that's the watch list. It's the exact same with the achievement list. So essentially just, again, the correct responses versus the incorrect responses. Then looking at the modules, guys, so you'll have 2 queues when you buy Ataata. So you'll have a campaign queue, which is utilized for specialized training or remediation training. Specialized training meaning that, for example, I've got a HIPAA a subject which is largely irrelevant to the South African market, but I have one department who deals with a sister hospital in the US who needs that training. I can then specify that those users need to watch that module, okay? Remediation training, on the other hand, is basically when everyone's watched the ransomware video in my company and 30% of them got it wrong. I can then remediate that 30% and make them watch the video again. We do not limit the amount of times you can watch an assigned video. So that's how the campaign queue works. Then on the right-hand side, you've got an enterprise queue. Enterprise, i.e., goes to all my users. And you will assign these videos onto your queue as you see necessary. When you buy Ataata, you get 14 queue slots. We have 35 videos, so you'll need to understand which videos make the most sense to send to your end users. And how do we do that, right? How do we go to all these videos? Do we have to watch every single one and obviously choose from there? Absolutely not. So what you are able to do is click on this button over here. We call it the easy button. And what that'll do is it'll look back on the platform and find out which of our industries or your industry specifically chose the 14 most appropriate videos based on their queue slot and also based on the relevant subject and apply that for you. Meaning that if you click on this button, it'll fill up the 14 most relevant videos to that specific industry, and you can then go and customize them as you see necessary, which is a really easy and quick way to start your curriculum path, right? You don't want to use GDPR. It's not irrelevant to you. You can dial it down to the bottom. It's just as easy to delete it from the queue, and it's just as easy to assign something into the queue as well. So it's literally as quick as easy as selecting a date and then applying that to the end queue. So very easy, very intuitive to use, and you can get started pretty quickly on assigning your videos to your end users. Now, excuse me. The last point I want to cover before we go into the risk score is the phishing extension. So yes, Ataata does have a phishing kind of plugin for the platform, but Ataata is most certainly not a phishing tool. So we're a training tool with focuses on multiple layers of information going into our risk scoring, and phishing is just one of those areas. So as you would have seen with any other simulation software, it's exactly the same. You do have all your templates based on the platform that you can go and choose. So you can use them kind of as is verbatim, or you can change any of the wording in this. everything that you see here would obviously be infected. And once they do click and get caught on that specific link, we send a really light gift to them and continue and maintain that level of humor. What we also then do is provide a couple of pieces of information on why it's important and what to look out for, just to have an extra educational point on that specific subject. So how this all comes down to what you guys get to see as administrators is the basic information of how it's stacked up against the other campaigns, right? So you'll see in our sales phishing campaign, 97% of my users opened the email and 40% of them clicked on it. And I can then go down and start looking into the detail as to who did. So we know that Nicole in finance, in fact, the whole finance team clicked the link. Nicole specifically clicked it in 2 seconds, and that was her reaction time from the send. We've tested her 4 times. She's been caught twice. And she's also been assigned 3 phishing-specific videos. And she's only watched a single one, and she's got that question wrong. So just a really intricate way in which you can start looking into the detail of how people are interacting with the platform. All this information can also be exported, so I can use these again in my specific BI tools or create any kind of reports on the API from there. Now, guys, to finish off, what this is all doing is trying to give you guys predictive analytics, right? As I mentioned earlier, it's trying to show you where your risky areas in your business is and try and give you, real insights into how to make decisions on how your training should be delivered. So we've called it a risk score. So it works similar to that of a credit score. There's no 0 and it doesn't go up to infinity. It's on a defined axis. And there's tons of information that goes into this risk score. So if you look down here, as I discussed right in the beginning, we can focus on 3 key areas or tiers of the platform. So it's sentiment, engagement, and knowledge. So sentiment comes down to how people are answering those attitudinal surveys. Are people changing their behaviors? Are they finding it positive? Are they finding that their contributions are making a meaningful difference to the business's overall risk posture? The engagement is how long are people taking to watch the videos? Are they watching the videos? How long are they spending on the platform? Are they engaging with the content? And are they giving us feedback? And then the last point is knowledge. How are people answering the questions? Incorrectly, correctly? Are they identifying phishing trends and phishing attacks? Are they marking them as safe or unsafe? And these then 3 were weighted equally into what we call a risk score. So it ranges from 40 to 160. Most companies, when they join the platform, begin on about an 80 score. One of the companies that was here at a previous demonstration this afternoon started on 61. And within 3 weeks, they sent out 6 videos, and they were now on 114, which is pretty cool in terms of how fast that company's completely changed their risk score. Now, you can start looking into the detail of this. So you'll have 2 things that you can dig into. Number 1 is the risk score trend analysis. So it'll give you a trend line over time as to how your score has changed from the day you started with Ataata versus the day you're on now. And then also what I can do is pull the information from the actual riskiest users in my business. So I can look at my very poor users all the way up to my excellent users and then start either training them appropriately or just pulling and deriving information from them to find out how we can look and where we can monitor the riskiest areas of our business. So there are a couple of things that are changing on the platform over the next few weeks and few months. There'll be advanced reporting available to you guys where you can automate these types of things, where I can start analyzing the various BUs of the business. So to show you what that's going to look like, your company might have its name over here. And when I click on one of these companies over here, which you guys would only have 1 line for, it'll bring up the BU list of your company. So you can start digging into which BU and which user within that specific BU is the most risky. So just a far more ingrained way of understanding that risk. Lastly, to report, it's as easy as click on reports, and it'll give you a snapshot in real time as to what's going on in your environment. So it'll show you your existing performance statistics, the risk score, how you guys appeal towards different, your specific industry as well as the all industries, what guys are enjoying and interacting with, your department achievement rates, as well as your attitude trackers and how people are feeling about security. This will eventually be, I think it comes in the end of September and the beginning of October. There's going to be a get custom report here where you can automate them, and that is coming. So that, in a nutshell, guys, is the user experience as well as the admin experience as well as the overall platform. I don't know if there's any questions or any concerns, but feel free to go and we'll answer some questions if there are any at the moment.
Great. Thanks so much for that, Dwayne.
Thanks.
Yes, guys. Yeah, please do ask any questions. If you'd like to also send some questions maybe on the chat bar at the bottom, feel free to do so.
So sorry, the video feeds, are they coming straight from Ataata, or they are fed from YouTube?
So they come straight from the platform. So they'll be delivered via Ataata.
Okay, so you need multimedia speakers for the sound. Okay, no, that's fine.
Correct. Yeah.
And any video compression on the other end, so that it doesn't chew up bandwidth when we're in a retail environment. We don't want to chew up our bandwidth.
Yeah, so the video will automatically calibrate to your bandwidth. So if there are restraints on bandwidth, it will automatically adjust the quality of the video to give the user the best experience, as well as not to kind of chew up your bandwidth per se.
Okay. So you can't download the video; it has to be streamed online.
Correct, but if it's on an instance, it will cache on that specific instance as well. So it's most certainly not going to create. It's most certainly not going to kill your bandwidth. We've got these on the numerous clients, specifically in the retail sector, where they've got 2,000-3,000 users all over the country, and we don't see many challenges with that as well.
Okay.
All right.
Does anybody else have any other questions?
Yeah, we've got a question here from Arvin. It is sent privately to me, but I think it's nice that we raise this with the group. So the templates as well as the videos is refreshed continuously. Absolutely. So we do add new content to the video stream annually. We add about 12 to 15 videos to the platform. The next season that's coming out is going to be a executive track, which is going to focus on executive travel. It's going to focus on how to spot if you're being targeted. And then the second one is secure DevOps, how to securely code between cloud platforms, and those are coming out soon. The phishing templates, we do periodically update them, but they're not, that's not our principal focus. We prefer to create custom templates with you. But yes, in a nutshell, the content is refreshed continuously, and it's additively, not refreshingly. So we don't just refresh; we like to add more relevant kind of modules to our existing base.
Sorry, and the user sign-on is it a single sign-on environment, or Active Directory credentials are also integrated to Ataata, or you've got to create user accounts within your platform?
So the users are based on how many users you add to the platform, and the way in which they receive the notifications can be through email. It can be tied into your Active Directory. Or using single sign-on.
Okay.
Does anybody else have any other questions?
Okay, guys. Well, if any questions do arise, please feel free to reach out to the Grove team. We'll obviously reach out to me if they can't handle your queries, but I'm sure they can. If there's anything technical, most certainly reach out to them, and they'll be definitely happy to assist. Otherwise, yeah, I hope you enjoyed the demonstration, and let us know if you need anything else.
Yeah, thanks, Wayne, and thanks once again, guys, for joining and taking time out of your busy schedules to join. We'll definitely be following up with you guys, sending some more information, and seeing obviously whether anybody would be keen to just discuss this in more detail. And yeah, we'll be getting that over to you soon. And if you guys think of any questions to ask after we all drop off here, please feel free to email myself. Okay, thanks very much for your time.
Thanks, guys. Ciao.
Cheers.
Cheers.